Thank you everyone for joining the Costumers Association webinar. Today we were kind of opening up the mic for questions, and I received a question from one of the attendees online, and I'll go ahead and read it to you and then provide a response. So it says, I just thought of a question. Do you have any suggestions on finding relevant content to share with our followers? I know there are sources such as BuzzSumo, but the monthly cost is too steep for many small businesses. There are actually quite a few, that's a great question. There are quite a few different resources out there. We actually try to pin quite a few things on our Pinterest account. So if you go to Pinterest.com, search for National Costumers Association, we try to pin things that we find from different members or fun costume ideas. But it's all based off of the theme of what you're wanting to share. I will disclaimer that if you share images that you found on Google and put your brand, trademark, or logo anywhere on those images that have been published on Google, you are running up against some violations as far as law and copywriting. So anything that you do share, you want to make sure that you share it and reference the original source. As far as coming up with some original content, you can easily develop what we call an editorial calendar, which you basically draw up a set of ideas of things that you want to share on different days. So maybe Mondays are Motivation Mondays, or Wednesdays are Wacky Wednesdays, or Fridays are Feature Friday, where you feature maybe a costume or a partner or something like that. Instead of using resources such as BuzzSumo, where you've got content that you're paying them to generate for you, in this particular case, you're actually curating the content based off of different topics throughout the week. So the best way to come up with an editorial calendar is decide how many posts you're going to want a week. So I usually recommend that people start with 3, and the first week you go with Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Then the next week you go with Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. And if you've built out this editorial calendar where every day that you post has a theme, then it's not going to look as overwhelming as 30 to 31 posts in a month. It's going to be more along the lines of 15 posts that you have to come up with, and only 2 motivational Mondays for the month, or 2 wacky Wednesdays for the month, depending on how many weeks are in that particular month. But I actually prefer to do that versus getting content from other sources. Additionally, if you're wanting to create some of your own content, you can use a tool called Canva. That's canva.com. And this is a free tool that you can just sign up with Facebook, Google+, or with an email address. And when you're in here, you can navigate through and create your own custom images. And even outside of that, you can add your logo, you can add phrases, you can create coupons. There's a variety of different templates in here, and it's a free service to use. They do charge for certain images. It's like $1 an image, but that is very, very cost effective when you look at running up against the Google war with fees associated to penalties of copyright violations. So I hope that helps a little bit. As far as theme and other things as for your editorial calendar, just take the time to sit down and come up with what you think your brand would look like in that. And additionally, I use this other tool called Hootsuite. It is free for up to 3 profiles. And I'm just double checking this here. So you'd sign up, you'd add your Twitter or your Facebook or your Google+, and you can schedule out all of your themed status updates in Hootsuite once a month. I recommend doing it before the last week of the month. Usually, for some reason, the first week of the month is busier for some people. But you really should schedule out your 30 days worth of content. And if you're doing a 3-day-a-week schedule, then you're really looking at 15 posts, which should only take you a couple of hours to create an image in Canva, decide what you're going to say, and schedule it in the platform. And they're super easy to use. There's actually a lot of really great online tutorials and built into Canva and Hootsuite that can walk you through the steps of how to use the tools. So that's what I'd prefer to do. I got another question here. What are some good ways to gain likes on Facebook? Do you have any suggestions on other pages to follow or like to attract more interest to your own page? And how should you interact with those pages? First question to answer, ways to gain likes on Facebook. Way number one, you can pay Facebook or you can do things organically. So first and foremost, I believe in organic growth, and that means it's slow growth. And anytime you ask somebody to do something, they can choose to do so or not. So it's really the nature of the user who interacts with the pages and so forth, and their comfortability with the platform on whether or not they're even going to follow pages. But if you ask people to like your page via a newsletter, also inviting them to like your friends and family to like your page, you can just go right under Facebook. Let me log in as a Facebook account. So here's an example of, actually let me pull up the Facebook account for costumers. On here, you just go to this little 3-dot section on your desktop, and you can suggest the things. You can also invite people to like the page from here. You do kind of have to like the page before you can invite others to like it, but you can just go through your friends list and select them. Additionally, there are paid ways to advertise in Facebook. So you could do boost of page, promoting of a post. You can promote the call to action button, which is this little sign up button in this particular case. You can do different ads, which would be on the right-hand side of your screen. I tend to recommend that you don't invest in a lot of paid options with Facebook until you've gone through a specific workshop to learn all the different ins and outs of the keywords and images and what really works as far as pixels. But just to refresh, invite people to like your page through your newsletter, through your social media posts, through inviting them to like it on the page, and even if you're part of any networking groups or you attend any association meetings, make sure you find us on Facebook on your business cards or on your flyers. That way it's a very clear call to action for people who are wanting to connect with. The second question was, do you have any suggestions on other pages to like, follow, to attract more interest on your own page? Well, you can definitely like pages as your page, not as an individual. I've seen, just as far as history goes, that people who manage pages don't necessarily follow back unless they are reminded to do so. So in that particular case, if I was a brand and I was wanting to follow other pages as my page instead of as an individual, then I might send that page a message that just said, hey, I found you on Facebook, following you now, I would love to follow in return. They have the option to do it or not. It does not increase your visibility or exposure unless people are spending time actually on the page and scrolling down, looking at the section off to the left that shows how this page is interacting. But yeah, that's the only recommendation I have there. How should you interact with these other pages? I tend to, if there's a page that I definitely want to follow as my page, then I'm interacting with it just as I would as a normal user. So whether I'm myself or a company brand, I'm not going to, me personally, I'm not going to share political information. I'm not going to share religious information. I'm not going to share a lot of my opinions, I'm going to be more engaging, friendly, and interactive. So I would want to do the same thing for my pages as well. And as a Facebook user, I pretty much use Facebook as myself instead of as commenting on other pages as the brand. But you can absolutely do that. People do it all the time. It's the same kind of an engagement as it would be if you were an individual user. So neither is better or worse as far as the practice. I've got another question on Periscope. So what is your experience, thoughts on using Periscope, and how can members use it to benefit their stories? Well, there's some really, really cool stuff going on right now with live video. And actually, Facebook has the option to do live video as well. And with this particular platform mentioning Periscope, Periscope is a platform where it's a one-directional communication. You're basically speaking into your device, so let's say your cell phone. You're speaking into your cell phone, talking about a topic that's interesting to you and highlighting something that's going on in your world right at that moment. With that, people can log on, anyone can log on, and with their Twitter account and follow your Periscope and engage with you. And by engaging, I mean they're commenting on your scope as you're doing stuff. So that you can actually do that in Facebook as well. It's called Facebook Live. It's just as easy to use. You just have to have a Facebook account. And instead of posting a status update, you would click on the icon for live video. And you'll want to make sure that if you're using a cell phone, that your cell phone is up and down, not side to side. That way the video comes through properly. But the second you go live, there you are, and you've got whatever it is that you're wanting to talk about. It's very, very beneficial on the aspect of getting visibility to the brand. So if you're at an event or you're at a trade show or you're doing a performance, you can absolutely hop onto Periscope or hop onto Facebook Live as your brand or as you as an individual and start talking about the exciting stuff that's going on at that event. Not only will your audience have a lot of engagement with those types of videos, but you can enable it to be location focused. And when it's location enabled, other people who aren't necessarily even following your brand can actually discover where you are. So that's kind of a fun thing. It's kind of creepy for other people, but in the Periscope world, it's a very popular use of it. So I would just recommend trying out Facebook Live on your personal Facebook account, seeing what kind of response you get, how many views you get, and practice a little bit before you do it on the brand. But absolutely, live video is the thing right now, and it has the highest engagement options as far as options for your brand and interactions with your pages. So a couple other tips there if you do decide to play with live video. Try to get yourself a tripod and maybe a lapel microphone that you can connect into the microphone device or portal on your smartphone. That way, when you're walking around, you're not bouncing, and people can hear you, especially if you're in a loud space. Those are great questions, you guys. Thank you so much. Now, altogether, that can be a lot of information. So I would like to invite each of you to join a Facebook group that I have. It's free to join. It is topics about social media. So you can, if you ever have a question about social media, you can type things in there. And there are 13 other social media people that can respond as well, answering questions about anything social media related. And it's hashtag, which is the #, Be Awesome, all one word. So hashtag Be Awesome in social media. It is a group that I created basically for very similar things like this. As questions come up, it's important to be able to have a resource to ask, especially if we've got experience in it. And if we don't have experience in it, we'll definitely tell you. And what about Snapchat? is this another app that our members could utilize? Well, okay, so I'm going to be honest with you. I don't feel that it's a very sophisticated app for brands right now. Users of Snapchat tend to be a very young demographic, which could be awesome depending on what kind of item you're wanting to promote to them. But it's also their kind of safe world of this is not where brands play. So there's a power struggle right now with Gen X and brands, and are they receiving brands in Snapchat? And with that, I would say if you jump on Snapchat for your brand, don't be too promotional or salesy. If you've got a way to relate your story without being promotional, that would be probably a great way to engage with your potential audience. But that one, I would say, right now it's not ideal for brands. And the people who are trying it on for that are celebrities, keynote speakers, folks that are trying to see if this is feasible and worthwhile. Okay, so we're right at the 11:30 mark, and I know we may have an hour, but this is a lot of really great information so far. So I thank each of you for coming on the call. Kind of document over throughout the month what kind of questions you might have in social media, so that way I can answer those for you. And be sure to join the Be Awesome in Social Media group, so that way we can kind of interact with each other real time as things come up. I do tend to share some different articles that might be of value. Sometimes they're a little bit more technical than others, but you know, I very much value your time, and so thank you guys so much for asking those questions today, and we'll touch base on the next call. Have a great day.